This entitled mom thinks she can demand a couple to sell their house to her. Things get heated, but fortunately for the house owners, they have a trick up their sleeve to make sure they can get rid of this entitled mom for good. Happy birthday, today's your birthday, and on with the revamped show. The funeral was this past weekend. There were 25 people there. None were my mother. She found out on Facebook that the funeral happened and lost her crap. Made embarrassing comments on Facebook she didn't think I would see. She told several people before the funeral that even if she was invited, she would never go. Typical. The funeral was absolutely perfect. C would have loved it. She was really loved and had such a great sense of humor. We all had some shots and snacks and super funny stories. My mother has said some really terrible things about my sister and I over the last 2 weeks. It all comes back to us. She has threatened to divorce my dad, make sure my sister and I never see our older sister again. She is Downs and lives with my mum. My mum has turned her against us and keeps telling her that we don't love her, etc. She cannot keep track of her lies, and even her best friend has seen her true colors now. My dad has really tried hard to make her happy and keep the peace. He is a mistreated spouse but refuses to accept it. She just continues to mistreat him. She still has not messaged or called my son to say sorry he lost his granny. She claims he has not spoken to her in months, so she has written him off. He is 17, so it's not like he hasn't noticed. She has told everyone that he refuses to speak to her, so she will not speak to him. Out of everything, this has made me the second maddest. When driving back from my sister, 6-hour car ride, he was the only one to speak to her. He even asked her about Trump and if she had ever been to Trump Towers, her favorite topic of all time right now. They chatted for a long time, and I had such a knot in my stomach because my son likes to wind people up, and I thought he was trying to irritate her, but he wasn't. He was genuinely trying to make conversation with her. And now the kicker, the thing that has made me the maddest, that ticks me off the most. C stated in her will that she wants her ashes spread where her son died, my son's father. He died on the highway on a motorbike. It's about 5 hours drive from us. We have a public holiday coming up near the end of the month, so we decided to make a weekend of it. 2 days in the town to do the ceremony. My son's dad was not super involved in his life. He paid maintenance but always lived too far to have a proper relationship with him. I have arranged for all his friends to meet my son. I'm hoping they can tell my son more about his dad, etc. Then we are going up more north to my dad's best friend for another 2 days. They live in bush. Think African game reserve. So it is a perfect way to end a very emotional weekend. This entire weekend is for my son. I have booked accommodation, planned everything, etc. My dad wanted to come with us and of course I said yes. So yesterday I was at my mum's best friend. She is a beautician and was getting a pedicure, as it is coming onto summer here, and my mum phoned as I was leaving. She told her bestie that she is furious she is not going away for the weekend with us. Bestie asked if she had messaged my son yet to give her condolences. Granny of the freaking year says, "No, he still hasn't spoken to me, so I'm not speaking to him." For frick's sake. Bestie says, well, you can't expect an invitation if you're not speaking to anyone. My crazy mother says that she knows she is not welcome, but wants to come anyway to tick me and my son off. She wants to gatecrash my son's farewell to his granny because she knows it will upset him. Are you freaking kidding me? Who does that? As I'm sure you can tell, this still makes me mad. Even typing this, I'm getting furious all over again. Bestie was encouraging her to message me, talk to me, anything so that she can go with us. I told Bestie straight, she is not welcome. It is my job to protect my child, and I will do it by any means necessary. The last thing he needs is his fitch granny deliberately sabotaging his weekend for her own personal pleasure. I am beyond furious. Luckily, my dad decided to get a spine last night. I did not tell him about this conversation as 1, I was way too angry to be rational, and 2, he has enough going on right now, and I made a commitment to stop complaining about my mother to him. So last night my mother, who thinks the memorial is this weekend, asks my dad what time we are leaving on Saturday. My dad just straight up says, "You are not going." She went ballistic, saying that he must find somewhere else to live. She is divorcing. She is taking all his money. If you read my sister's post, you will see there is no money. My mother's sister has financially ruined my dad's business. We must all die, etc, etc, etc. I know this because her bestie called me last night to find out if I'd told my dad what my mother said. My mum had phoned her and blamed her for telling my dad. The reality is my mother is mentally ill, but she is also super smart. Last year I got her into a facility to help her. I warned them that she will manipulate them. They didn't believe me, and she was out after 2 weeks. She was supposed to stay for 2 months. She did a terrible thing to me then, which is why I refuse to help her anymore. You know there's something wrong with these sadistic, entitled mothers when they literally don't want to be around you, but they'll endure through it because they somehow get pleasure out of annoying you or making your life worse for some reason. Do they really have no other hobbies, no other forms of joy in their life that they can find entertainment from? They really have to bring down other family members just to feel some form of pleasure? My mother is not a good person, and when thinking of ways to describe her, a few names come to mind. Annie Wilkes from Misery, and Margaret White from Carrie, just to name a few. Stephen King depicted my mother quite nicely in those 2 books. My younger sister was Mum's golden child. She lived up to all of Mother Dearest's high expectations, and liked doing everything that our mum did, like riding horses. I was never interested in doing any of it. Probably because of her poor treatment towards me for most of my childhood. My mum and dad had separated when I was very young, but they were civil around each other for the benefit of me and my siblings. At this point, my dad and family members on my dad's side didn't know the things my mum did to me and my brother. I can remember this day so vividly. We were visiting my aunt and her husband, my dad's sister, who lived on a farm. They were all interested in riding horses, but knew that I wasn't, which was never an issue to them. My mother, on the other hand, wasn't so understanding. My sister, 5 at the time, was riding around on a Shetland pony with my uncle walking beside her, and I was sitting on the veranda watching her. My brother had walked off down the driveway a few hours before this, so was nowhere in sight. He's high-functioning autistic and was fine to be on his own. He was 11 and this was in a small and safe rural town. While sitting and watching, my mother walked up to me. My dad was with my aunt on the other side of the farm. "Why won't you come and ride with your sister?" "Because I don't want to." "Don't be a spoiled brat. Get off your lazy butt now." "Mum, you know I don't like riding horses, and I'm not good at it. Please don't make me." Mum getting visibly angry. "Get up now, you lazy little crap." She grabbed me by my wrist and pulled me hard and fast forward off the chair. I felt a sharp pain in my wrist as she pulled, and I screamed out in pain. "Mum, you're hurting me, stop! My wrist!" "Stop being a sook and get up!" My wrist hurt so bad and began to throb in pain, but whenever I said something about it, Mum just accused me of faking it to get out of doing things. She walked me over to where my dad and aunt were, with my mum dragging me by my now broken wrist, and when we got there, my dad noticed I was crying. "What's wrong? Are you okay?" Mum squeezing my wrist to keep me from saying anything. "She's fine. She wants to ride a horse." "No, I don't." I was cut off. "Yes, you do. You want to ride the big horse, don't you?" All of my objections were ignored by my mum, and she made my dad help me onto a horse, bareback. The big horse was a Clydesdale. Anyone who knows about horses will know that a Clydesdale is far too big for an average inexperienced horse rider, let alone an 8-year-old girl. And this horse was easily spooked. To having a new person on his back that didn't know what they were doing was enough to spook him. He jerked forward quickly and bucked me off. I landed in the grass with my hand taking most of the impact, which made the pain in my wrist even worse. The impact was hard enough to break my wrist, but it was already broken before I'd gotten onto the horse. My mum came rushing over to me to see if I was okay. I was crying in pain and grasping onto my wrist. Mum doing her best fake concerned mother act. "Oh, you poor thing, are you okay? Let me help you up." "My wrist, it hurts." "Oh no, you must have broken it when you fell." Dad took me to the hospital and my wrist was broken. When I told Dad that Mum broke my wrist, he didn't believe me. Not because he was a neglectful parent, it, but because he saw me fall onto my hand, so he put 2 and 2 together. Most of my cries for help as a child fell on deaf ears. I spent the next 8 weeks with my wrist in a cast, which made school hard, and I couldn't hold a pen. It was my right wrist and I'm right-handed. I want to say that this was the worst thing my mother has done to me, but I'm sad to say it isn't. I'm no longer in contact with her, and my life is better without her in it. The sad thing is, if they never went on the horse, they never would have fallen over, and eventually it would have been discovered that the wrist was broken anyway, therefore showing that the mother broke it. So unfortunately, not only did the mother cause such pain, but she also unintentionally covered up her own crime. It really is tough when you're that age and no one really will listen to you. So it's worth trying to look around you every now and then and see who around you might need your help, because you might be the only one who can help them. So the background is as follows. My wife and I moved to another state a few months ago for my wife's new job. While I was furloughed due to the virus and have since found a new job, she was not, and we were able to find a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house for around $400 less a month in a mortgage instead of rent. We purchased the house and signed the paperwork back in May and moved in June. We spent months repainting, reseeding the lawn, and even putting in our own wooden fence for our dog. The house has long since been taken off a realtor website and has long since been taken off the market. This story takes place this afternoon after I got back from work and my wife was still on her way. Here is the cast. EM entitled mother, NK nice kid, may have been entitled but was quiet throughout the entire convo. Me is me, dog my bestest best buddy, cop is cop. I just got home from work and began to let our dog out into our backyard. I was only home for around 5 minutes and just changed out of my work clothes when my dog started to bark. He only ever barks if someone or something like a squirrel or a deer comes into our yard. I ran to the back door and saw a car sitting in the driveway with EM and NK standing near the gate, looking as if they are going to open the door. Who the heck are you?
Oh, don't mind me, I was just looking to buy this house, and NK here saw the dog and wanted to pet it.
Yeah, you can leave now. Dog, come. Dog runs to me and I let him inside.
My son wants to pet him.
And I didn't want to deal with a complete fitch after work, but it looks like we both can't get what we want now, can we?
How dare you? All I wanted to do was look at this house.
Well, seeing as how my wife and I bought this house months ago, I'm going to go ahead and say that's not gonna happen.
But I saw this house on Zillow months ago and saved it. We're going to put in an offer and we will buy it.
Yeah, I don't know how you remember this address, but it was sold months ago. To me.
I liked it so much that I wrote down the address and came when I could. Now I'm going to look, and you're going to sell it to me.
I have a better idea. You leave before I make you leave.
Was that a threat?
It 100% was. I'm not selling my house to you. I'm not letting you pet my dog.
You are going to sell me this house and give me your dog. You're going to sell it cheap now. 10,000 should be enough.
I have a better idea. I call the cops and tell them that an old hag is trespassing on my property. Smile and wave to the camera, Karen, while I point at the back door camera that is very much capturing her license plate and audio of everything being said.
No, I'm calling the cops on you.
She then picks up her cell and calls the cops. States that I was an intruder. Oh wow, let the games begin. About 10 minutes later, a cop arrives, and the EM runs over to the cop.
Help me, officer. This intruder is breaking into my house.
Sir, put your hands behind your back. Before you do that, would you like to see the security camera footage first? EM apparently just now remembered there was a camera.
Oh, that won't be necessary. EK, let's go home.
I thought this was your home, and I was the intruder. It's almost as if she was lying to the police and attempting to file a false police report. Ma'am, you're not going anywhere. Show me. I show the cop the camera footage with full audio. As you can see, I'm not the one breaking the law. Also, here is my driver's license proving I do in fact live here, not her. I would love to press charges. The cop, after going over all my paperwork, viewing the entire convo, and handing me back my license. Ma'am, you're under arrest for trespassing, attempted burglary, abuse of emergency resources, and lying to a police officer during an investigation. EM tries to run away, but can't escape. because the cop blocked the driveway, so she can't get out. I then get to see EM being dragged out to the squad car, and CPS was called and took the kid. Apparently the dad was not around, and see her drive away after I gave a copy of the footage to the cop. My wife came home after CPS and other cops and cop cars were in our yard and was scared and thought something happened, but saw me and asked what went on. I explained the story to her and she told me to post it to this subreddit. We'll likely have to go to court, but I can't wait to see how that goes down. I could understand maybe saving a house you were looking for and maybe you didn't get around to visiting it straight away, but if it's been months, wouldn't you think there is maybe just a little slight chance that it's already been sold? It's almost like she dug herself into this position and she's like, well, I'm in this far, better keep digging. Submit your story to be read on the channel at VoiceyHereStories@gmail.com and join our Voicey veteran community at r/VoiceyHere. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. Alright, Voicey veterans, I'll see you in the next one.